I'll give our official. It's so nice to see you. I'm so glad we're together. Tuesday tea time. One of my favorite days of the week. And I'm going to ring the bowl. We can invite ourselves into the present moment. Taking a moment to come into our seated position, the place of really arriving into the present moment. Noticing what happens when we just stay still. How does the body settle in gravity? How does the body settle in our place? We can let our eyes gently close or let them be open with light coming around a soft gaze. May we hold ourselves kindly. Appreciating that we're here in this moment. Appreciating that of all the things that we could be doing on a Tuesday afternoon, we are here together. And we can include in our awareness those that are sometimes with us but aren't with us today. And just having a gratitude and appreciation for choosing to be still and see how the mind unfolds, see how the heart unfolds. We can start by stilling the body and calming the mind some by choosing to be aware of a single object at first, of the breath or the sit point. Maybe where the hands are touching, a place that we're grounded in the present moment, gravity in the body, and yet aware of sensations arising and passing, arising and passing. We have sensations at those touch points of our buttocks or our hands or our feet, of maybe pressure or heat or tingling. Being really present, letting a knowing happen. And that's not always easy to just jump into, which is why we try to use that single point of pressure, or at the nostrils, the feeling of the breath coming in and out, or at the diaphragm, the feeling of the breath rising, tension that can happen around the diaphragm, and then the breath as it releases space around the diaphragm, or as it releases, we might notice heat at the nostrils. And so we can also bring into our mindful awareness the sensations in the body of pleasant or unpleasant, the feeling tone, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral at the body point, or at the breath, or wherever the mind might wander off. We can wake up there in that moment, noticing pleasant or unpleasant or unsure about the feeling tone, the sensation that's happening. Letting this single object of concentration help us lay a foundation of the constant arising and passing away, and being present with it. The breath arises, stays for a while, and it dissipates without any control on our part. Sometimes we can make our breath longer if we want to take a couple of long, deep breaths to relax, but ultimately the breath is breathing on its own. We can't hang on to it to make it last longer than when it's ready to begin again. And this gives us a first-hand account of the constantly changing nature of what arises. We're in the process of having compassion for this life and for our world by being willing to sit down every day and train the mind to be present with the wild and often neurotic swirl of bodily and mental activities without judgment. We're not trying to get rid of it, but from a place of humility and care, we are better understanding the nature of the incessant loops of thought and bodily tensions that thoughts can create. And we learn to persist no matter what comes and goes in the field of our experience. Any experience is simply the next thing being known, being felt. It's like this now. Can we be okay with this? And being present and committing to this meditative process is what can illuminate. It illuminates what's necessary for us to see. And then wisdom grows slowly. The heart becomes more tender and sensitive, and gradually the mind releases its self-imposed grip and weight. We're just present with what arises. At each of the sense doors, thinking and thoughts in the mind, hearing and seeing, touching, tasting, smelling. And we can notice from our own experience what seems to be beneficial and is a cause for real peace and happiness. As things arise and we plant these seeds of peace and happiness, noticing when something might feel skillful and noticing when something else might feel unskillful. All of it is there for mindfulness to see and awareness to be present for. And we can return to the breath or the touch point, the breath throughout the body or the breath at the single point. Whenever we find ourselves lost or confused or we're not sure what we're doing, we just begin again with ease and gentleness, knowing that we have our Sangha of support. We have the teachings, the truths that we know firsthand. And we have the understanding that others have gone before us and reached freedom, reached enlightenment, and that is possible for us as well in this very lifetime. Moment by moment, we can notice awakening to the very present. Without judgment, noticing if we have papancha, continuing thought patterns that go on, and when we notice that, we can just release it or naturally watch it as it falls away. And we can come back to noticing just the right amount of effort that it might take to stay present when we roam off in tiredness or when we roam off in judgment, or maybe restlessness arises or doubt. Whatever comes to the surface, we're present with. And we can notice those three characteristics of anicca, anatta, dukkha. Conditions arise. Stress, dukkha, difficulties are present. As long as we don't grasp at them, wishing them to go away, they go on their own accord. Anicca, constantly changing nature of conditioning, conditions that arise. And we can have confidence as we notice mindfulness and awareness, investigation. Is this skillful or unskillful? Noticing when something falls away. That develops our confidence. As our concentration can deepen and we have just the right amount of energy, mindfulness is present, wisdom is there. All of those 5 faculties are skillful states of being, skillful states of mind. We can let ourselves continually see the letting go process, putting things down, giving ourselves some time to be free of the weight we carry. There's a teaching by the Thai meditation teacher Ajahn Suat, and he uses a mountain as a metaphor. And he asks his students, see that mountain over there, is it heavy? And the student replies with, great certainty, yes, that mountain is heavy. And Ajahn Suat then enlightens the student, it may be heavy in and of itself, but as long as we don't try to lift it, it's not heavy for us. So we can take this time to put everything down. And then skillfully pick up what really is our own responsibilities, our own burdens, and carry that weight with a light heart. And this concentration that builds from attending to the breath or noticing what happens at any of the senses and being aware of it in the present moment. It can bring some energy and some stability, and that can bring some beginning of confidence in the practice. And joy arises because this wholesome concentration keeps the hindrances a little at bay. We can notice when we have non-greed in the mind, when we have non-hatred, non-ill will. Those are skillful factors of the mind, beautiful factors of the mind. There may be tranquility or pliability, movement in the mind, a lightness of mind. Whatever is there, we're present with it. We're looking at what is. What is the attitude of the mind right now? This is the way it is right now. We're developing a quiet and dedicated meditative mind that can find true understanding into the difficulties of life. It can help us see through confusion and chaos that can oftentimes dominate our minds. And so with this understanding, the wisdom that's inherent in us all is slowly revealed. We can be relaxed and be aware. We can sometimes notice wakeful moments in the mind where nothing seems to be created. There aren't conditions, there's just bare awareness. And we can settle into this, we can reside in this. We're just keeping mindfulness continuous. Or returning to the object when mindfulness has not been present or awareness is not so present. We can just come right to the very moment that we realize it. This is what's happening right now. We can cultivate those good qualities of the mind. Being kind, being present, having just enough energy with insight and concentration. as we are with our present moment experience. A kind of concentration, an experience that can arise can be a stability of the mind that's already there. And it's revealed. Because there's more open awareness and right view. The awareness of the object of the breath, or at all of the sense doors, awareness and non-judgmental of all the experience. This is right concentration or right samadhi. We develop momentum. We can actually naturally know what the mind is already doing, and our sense of the fact that it's not a personal process can become more clear. We can begin to notice that the I is not in charge of what's happening, even in the meditation. But the mind, the heart and mind are doing their own work of being aware. This moment is our reality. Nothing more, nothing less. This is what is happening right now. Immersed in the present. Holding ourselves with kindness. As we continue noticing, letting go what falls away, this sense of generosity to ourselves. Perhaps we can hold ourselves a little more securely in a kind of loving kindness and compassion for ourselves. Skillful understanding and skillful intention. The wisdom is gaining an understanding of what life is really about. And we have those core virtues of skillful speech and skillful action and skillful livelihood. And we build our awareness and realize more peacefulness and happiness, joy and freedom and equanimity as we embrace skillful effort and skillful mindfulness and skillful concentration. And as we hold all this in an open spaciousness, we can hold ourselves in kindness, in ease and well-being. However we can generate this. Maybe there's a feeling in the heart or throughout the body. Maybe there's something in the mind that is a place that gives you nurturing, gives you happiness. Maybe it's one of those various photographs that you see of that golden retriever with a row of little birds on his legs. Makes you smile. Those photographs you see of dogs and cats cuddling and all kinds of animal things that bring happiness to the mind, or the thought of children laughing, or a place in nature that's nurturing to you, so that we can hold ourselves easefully in a sense of kindness and well-being. Whatever's going on around us, can we touch into this place of kindness and compassion for ourselves, for whatever's happening. May this kindness expand to another person, a close friend or a benefactor. Maybe a being comes to mind that has awakened our sense of kindness, whether it's an animal or a friend, a benefactor, a child. Letting this being come to mind, to our hearts. Letting our heart space include them, that they may have happiness. be free from suffering, have ease in their lives. Whatever is happening in the mind and in the body and in the heart, we gather ourselves together and let our heart space, our breath within our body, include someone we don't know, a neutral person. Just as I wish to be happy, I know that you also wish to be happy. May we bring this sense of well-being to include the neutral person in our hearts. Letting this warmth, this kindness within us include them, that they may be peaceful and have ease in their life. Focusing on that presence of inclining the mind toward kindness and toward compassion. May we include other neutral people in our hearts, those that may be suffering right now. There are many all over the world, and there are many within our own families. May we allow this kindness in our hearts to include those who are suffering from illnesses, those who are suffering from loss of their homes, those who are suffering from oppressions. May we have equanimity without falling into extremes. May our hearts have equanimity in our compassion to feel another's suffering and to include this upwelling of kindness, that these beings may find some freedom from their suffering and have some ease in their lives. And may this feeling in our heart include beings who are in joy. Someone might come to mind that had a joyous occasion, and we can have some sympathetic joy for their happiness. Just letting our hearts be open, including those in sorrow, those in joy, those beings that are known and unknown, those that are enlightened and those who are unenlightened. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness, be free from suffering. those that swim and crawl and fly and walk in all directions, north, east, south, west, above and below. May all beings everywhere be free from harm. Anicca vata sankhara upadavaya domino upakitava marochanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things arise and pass away. As we see this clearly from our own direct experience, seeing this clearly brings happiness, which is peace. And may the merit of our practice benefit all sentient beings. The goodness that arises in our practice be of benefit to all beings. Thank you for your practice. And as you start to open your eyes,